There you go. A very good evening to you, folks. We're coming to you live from the studios of Our World Media. I'm Clive Williams, and this is Conversations with Clive Williams. That's me. Next to me is my sidekick right over there, Professor Gail Lewis. Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy
Welcome.
New Year, Dr. Williams.
Yeah, it's just dawned on me that we're what, 2 weeks?
It is the 15th of January, yes.
2 weeks in the new year.
How are those resolutions going?
Oh no, don't make those at all.
No,
We
me
don't-
neither.
We don't
I
do resolutions.
My only resolution is to be better today than I was yesterday.
Yeah, we do some strategic planning, but after COVID, well, not after, we're still in COVID, but since the impact of COVID, we've grown to realize that all the best made plans
Yeah.
of mice and men,
Yes.
God says, you know what, I'm going to do my thing.
Yeah, they sent the cats in after the mice. So
yeah, yeah.
we're just
So-
struggling.
So, listen, we have an incredible guest this evening. And incredible because any man who starts a business that continues unbroken for 30 years
Yeah,
is incredible
absolutely.
in these times. And this man is still young, which makes it even more incredible. He might be growing around the temples, but that's wisdom.
That's everyone.
The gentleman we're about to introduce is not only known to most of our community in the Caribbean American community and the African American community, not only known to them, but known to me as a dear friend. Andrew Morris and his wife Jean are the founders of this incredible business, Sam's Caribbean Marketplace. Now, I want to tell you what they do, but I'm going to introduce Andrew. Andrew, thank you very much for joining us, my friend, from that location there on Hempstead Turnpike. You're going to tell us the address and all that, but let me welcome you on board and introduce you to Gail, my sidekick, Professor Gail Lewis.
Hi, Andrew Morris. It's a pleasure to
Professor.
see you again.
Good to see you, Professor Gail Lewis. Good to see you again. And Clive, good to see you as always.
Yes, sir. You are not only an outstanding businessman, but you're a great friend. And for the benefit of our viewers and our listeners, I just want to establish the fact that although your name is Andrew Morris, the name of the business is Sam's Caribbean Marketplace. Why Sam's?
Yes, that's the most often asked question I get. When we were starting the business, we were trying to find a short name for the business because we wanted to call it Caribbean Marketplace, but we figured that was a little too wordy.
Yeah.
So we're trying to find a short name for it. And just about the time we were ready to register the company, my wife's father died, and his name was Samuel. They used to call him Sam.
Wow.
I thought, wow, it'd be good. Sam is pretty short. Sam's
Yeah.
Caribbean. And so I spoke to her mom. I spoke to my wife. She said, yeah, that sounds like a good thing.
Yeah.
I spoke to her mom and she loved it. And we said, all right, so we're going to call it Sam's Caribbean Marketplace.
Man,
There
the
you go.
the backstory is always fantastic.
And
And, now I'm Sam now because everybody calls me
yes,
Sam.
So
And
a reincarnation, the reincarnation of Sam.
No
Yeah,
problem.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I just a little fun fact here that I like to tell people. When you launched that business, I was fortunate enough to have been the broadcaster who did the live broadcast of the launch. And to this day, I'm singularly proud of that event. So maybe you had better sort of talk about it for me so that I don't seem to be slapping myself too hard on the back here.
And Andrew, when you're talking about that, you have been at 225 Hempstead Turnpike in West Hempstead now the entire time.
No, not the
No?
entire. No,
No?
no. There's a break. So let him tell you.
Okay, so
Tell us
we
the
want to know.
story.
Right now,
Tell us
you're
the
at
story.
225 Hempstead Turnpike, West Hempstead. Prior to that, you were in a different venue. Tell us how
Yes.
this all came to be.
Yes, we decided that we were going to start a retail company, and we had no experience in retail. I was working at Newsday at the time and doing marketing and on the business side, and we decided we're going to take all our money and invest it in a retail business, which we've never had any experience doing. And we found a place in Hempstead on Hempstead Turnpike. Well, it's actually in the back. And it was owned by a Jamaican, and there was a Jamaican restaurant, Nakisaki. Some of you might remember Nakisaki
Yeah,
restaurant.
famous Nagasaki, yeah.
How could you
Famous
forget?
Nakisaki
Oh,
restaurant. Right, we were right next door to them, and that's where we wanted to be because we knew that Nakisaki was quite popular,
yeah.
and we wanted to be part of their success. So we sort of put ourselves right next to them. And when we were about to open, Clive and I had been friends for long before that, and Clive had a radio show at the time, and I thought, wow, it would be a great thing for for Clive to come in, and he came in one night and set up, and we had our first live broadcast.
Yeah.
And we felt great because, nobody knew us. We were getting like 2 customers a day, or maybe 3, 4.
Yeah.
And we're like, geez, this ain't going to work out.
Yeah.
But Clive did help to put us on the map at an early, the very start. And so we moved from there 18 years ago. And we came to Hempstead Turnpike.
Is it that number of years? 18 years, brother?
I'm sorry. We spent 18 years there.
18 years,
There,
right.
okay.
Right.
My mistake. We spent 18
Yeah.
years there,
Right.
and we've been here now 10 years.
Right.
In fact, next month will be 11 years.
Wow.
Since we moved.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
So you're
Yeah, so,
almost
just
30
about-
years. Almost 30 years in?
28 years. 28
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. That's an amazing
And
business.
I mean, I'm sure I look like 30, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
shows you that I started very early.
Yeah. I hope Gene is watching. I hope Gene is really watching this show because I think you're sort of preening yourself there for some attention. But we Gene will forgive you for that. It's the cameras on you, Andrew. Don't worry about it.
Yes.
But seriously, man, I admire the tremendous business that you have built because what you have done. Obviously, you did some research and you found out that there is a tremendous need for products of all stripes, of all varieties, because what you seem to satisfy, whatever the Trini wants, whatever the Jamaican wants, whatever the Bajan wants, whatever, anybody from the Caribbean and the Spanish folk are in the store as well. So clearly there's a commonality among the products that you carry that attracts both Spanish-speaking Caribbean folks, English-speaking Caribbean folks, French-speaking Caribbean folks. So this is the kind of business you have located there in Hempstead. And how has the pandemic affected your momentum here?
If I may say so, because we're in the food business, we certainly got a boost.
Yeah.
From the pandemic. Yes. Fortunately, we have a grocery store and we have a restaurant. And so when other restaurants were closing, sit-down restaurants, full restaurants are closing,
Right.
we were able to stay open with our takeout. And so we had people coming from all over to buy, whether it's the sardine in the can or the corned beef or the butter beans. People were starting to cook who never knew how to turn on a stove.
Yeah.
Who kept sweaters in their oven?
Right. And so we were getting traffic for both the grocery side and the restaurant side. And so fortunately for us, it's sad what the pandemic has done to, many businesses and to individuals and to families. But we really didn't have a major issue riding out the pandemic.
Yeah. But you're a low key guy. You want to go ahead?
I'm interested because if you're not familiar with Sam's, just the business concept. In the front of the store, there is the marketplace, hence the name,
Yes.
with all of those Caribbean goods that we just spoke about, a variety of Caribbean
And
goods.
we're looking at some of them
And
in the
then,
background.
yes, and we see the Grace right there in the back.
That's what.
I see the wall. I see some sorrel, dried sorrel right there over your left shoulder.
Yes,
I'll take
yes,
a few
all
of
that
those.
stuff, yes.
I'm all out after Christmas. If you're not familiar with Sam's, if you have not made the pilgrimage yet to 225 Hempstead Turnpike in West Hempstead, please do. It's plenty of parking. And when you go in the front of the store is, of course, the marketplace with an array of Caribbean goods from, as Dr. Williams said, the complete diaspora. And then in the back is some of the best Caribbean food you're going to find takeout.
That's right. That's
Right?
why I'm glad you hit on that, Gail.
So, I
The
have a few
curry
questions.
goat, the oxtail, the fish, the curry chicken. Oh man,
Okay,
I'm telling you.
I'm going to have to go. They don't close
yeah.
until 8, so
Go get
there is
soup
there
on
is
Saturdays.
exactly. There's a chance to get there tonight after this after you finish listening to this show. If you're local, 8:00. It's 8:00 on Saturdays. You close. They're going to be open for a little while. If you want some curry in a hurry, go over there. But my question.
Come back again with that.
Curry in a hurry.
Okay.
But it's not cooked in a hurry, okay?
No. It's
Mind
slow.
cooking.
I'm a curry aficionado, so I would know. But my question here in all of this explanation of the Great Sam's Marketplace is this, Andrew. How did you come up with this concept of both, the duality of both great food to go in the back, and before you get in the back, you are just surrounded by aisles and aisles of goods that prior to Sam's, you could only get from someone's suitcase when they came from home. How did you come up with this, concept?
That was the only source that
I know,
went.
that's where we were getting them from. I don't know about everybody else.
Yeah.
It was quite basic. When we started in Hempstead, we had a small location. It was a 1,600 square foot location, and we were situated right next to Nakisaki Restaurant, which had great food, great location, everything about it was great. And so, because we were small and we were next to Nakisaki, and we Nakisaki and us were like partners. So we, thought about having cooked food, but we knew that was not going to be the place to do it. So once we moved to a larger location, it was just no brainer that we would have a restaurant. And one of the things we found out about the market is that there were more people coming into the market, the Stop and Shops, the Walmarts. They were selling the products that we were selling. So we wanted something that they couldn't emulate. People of other ethnicities were selling the products that we were selling. And we wanted something that would be very, very difficult for them to copy.
Yeah.
And so we thought we're going to get the best food in the world,
Right.
best Caribbean food.
Wow. And you have succeeded because let me tell you something. When I get there, and there are times when there's when you sort of spit in the wind, so to speak, and say where do I really go if I want some tasty food on a Saturday afternoon, on a Monday afternoon.
I was going to say on the way home from work,
on the way
right?
home from work. Trust me, it is well worth the trip, folks.
On a cold night tonight, DoorDash it. I mean, really, they deliver.
And here's
Absolutely.
here's a cool thing. There are a couple of tables that are nice size that you can sit down.
That's right.
And
I got one right now. I'm sitting at one right now.
right, and the environment is pretty cool. You can actually sit there with your laptop and get some work done. So you can work, have something to eat, and have a really great time. No, don't bum rush the place, folks. I'm not telling you that this is a place to take your laptop and just sit down. You make yourself a customer, and then
make yourself at home.
And then you do that. Let me just break for a minute and just tell our people, or people who are watching us, people who are listening to us, where they should go. You want to grab a hold of this show, just hit up Facebook. Our World Media. Just look for Our World Media Network on Facebook, and you will find us. And, of course, this is a podcast. You will be able to get this podcast on anywhere you get podcasts, all right, after the show. OurWorldMedia.com. Check out OurWorldMedia.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Our World Media 1. And our guest is Andrew Morris. In case you just joined us, just text a friend, call a friend, tell them to jump on to Facebook, Our World Media Network, and you will catch this broadcast live because we are coming to you live.
And also, if you have a question for Andrew Morris, proprietor of Sam's Marketplace, please give us a call right now, 347 410 8077. Again, 347 410 8077. If you've got a question, give us a call. You know you're holding your phone anyway, so you might as well give us a call and ask the man behind Sam's about his business acumen and questions about his goods and services.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something more about Sam, but before I do that, let me just say a word for the Chocolate Loft. Venue for private parties, that's 113-10 Sutphen Boulevard. Okay, that's the Chocolate Loft, a venue for private parties, 113-10 Sutphen Boulevard. Contact Charles, that's Charles, like my grandfather, Charles, at the Chocolate Loft. The number to call is 929-504-9200. Let me say that one more time. 929-504-9200. The Chocolate Loft, right here in Queens.
And that's chocolate spelled in an interesting way.
Yeah.
Charles did a good job with that. Choclet. That's
Chocolate.
phonetic spelling, I guess.
Yeah.
But the Chocolate Loft is a great place if you want to have a private party,
Yeah.
a birthday, something where you want to keep it small. You want to, with COVID and everything, it's a good place to go. Where you can just have
Centrally
a party.
Located, near to the train and all that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Chocolate
so,
Loft.
So we're going to go to a break. Andrew, we've been talking to you for a little while now, and we have some more time to talk to you before we go to the break. Before we do that, there is something about you that caught my attention many years ago. I know you're a very bright man. But to make the Wall Street Journal, I think it was a front page story about the whole matter. It's a financial thing. That you want to explain how you made the Wall Street Journal and became an overnight sensation, even before these overnight sensations started happening.
An overnight sensation, 28 years in the making.
You know what I mean?
But the front page of the
Yes.
Journal, that's huge.
Yeah.
They say every overnight success takes 20 years. Takes
Yeah,
20
yeah,
years.
yeah,
So,
that's right.
yeah. Well, I was always part of, in Jamaica, we call it a partner. In
Yeah.
some other islands, they call it a susu.
Yeah.
And it's where a group of people pool their money together, and each week they lend the money to someone else. So everybody puts a certain amount every week, say $100. 20 people put $100 every week, and every week someone gets $2,000 to borrow, and you pay it back as the cycle continues.
Yeah.
And so the Wall Street Journal found out through the Caribbean Chamber of Commerce. They had called them to find out, if they knew anybody who was doing this.
Right.
And they said, well, we don't know anybody. So they called someone in Long Island, and someone in Long Island called me.
Yeah.
And before you knew it, we were interviewed by a Wall Street Journal reporter. And yeah, we were on the front page of the marketplace section.
Yeah.
And that story got picked up by Inc. magazine. It got picked up by many, many publications.
Sure.
Became overnight success.
And Andrew Morris became a YouTube star. No, not
That was before YouTube.
That was before YouTube.
Yes,
He was doing that TikTok dance
yeah.
way before TikTok.
Yeah.
yes.
What has it been like for your life? Because when I met you, you were just a young man, a stripling of a man, a young man growing up, looking sharp and dressing sharp. And after almost 3 decades in retail, how has your life changed?
Well, I spend a lot of time at work.
Yeah.
One of the things I do now is I used to come in early, leave late, but as you get older and you have competent people to help you, I come in later now and leave late.
Yeah.
So one of the things I decided, though, my family, my wife and I decided from the very get-go was that we would not become slaves to the business.
Right.
And we took vacations every year before COVID. And we, would leave and go where we want to go. because we were blessed to have some very good employees who worked for us, who we could trust with the business.
Mm-hmm.
And people would say to me, "How can you leave your business? How can you, you trust them?"
Yeah.
And we're like, well, it's we own the business does not own us, and I think that's very important that people realize that you can't let the business run your life.
Yeah.
You know, you should be in charge of the business, not the business in charge of you. And so, I don't know if the business has changed me much. It has taught me a lot, but still the same person, still
Yeah.
that sharp young guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a few, because we only have a few more minutes with
Yeah, yeah,
Andrew,
yeah,
right? So I have
yeah.
a few speed round questions. Andrew, you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
60 seconds. Go.
All right. Back of the store, a wonderful buffet, an array of foods. Your favorite food from your buffet?
Comfort.
Cowfoot. How? With
Long
what?
stew comfort or curd comfort. It doesn't matter. Never ate it till I was about 18, and then I can't stop.
Love it. Also, hardest item to find in the marketplace. Hardest item for you to source
Right now,
with
well,
COVID, especially.
chocolate balls are really difficult to find. We just got some. We have a few packages now. They might last a couple weeks, and then that's it. Not sure when again. And right now, stuff like menthol crystal, anything to do with colds and flu and COVID,
Right.
people are bum rushing those. Buckleys, anything that
Ferrol is flying off the shelves. I see it.
Carol is flying. We probably have about 6 bottles left. About 6 bottles right now.
What is the most popular outside of the cold and flu things, obviously with COVID? But what outside of those things? What's the most popular item in the store, in the
It's a little
marketplace?
snacks. The little snacks like drops, Greta cake, gizzada. But on a larger scale, it's the akis. The akis are very popular. Yeah.
And in your family, what's the one item that everyone always requests you bring home?
Excelsior crackers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Crackers.
Hey, that's man. I tell you.
I need tough crackers. I need Excelsior crackers. Yeah.
Well, I
Someone's
tell you,
making fish tea.
I am contending with some belly fat, man. That's brought on by crackers, brother. I'm telling you, I love a crack. I can't
Love a good
I-
carb.
No, I'm telling you,
I know.
Excelsior crackers.
I know.
Folks, if you haven't tried it yet, all these fancy crackers you see in these other supermarkets,
No.
please
Go to
step
Sam's.
away, go to
Yes.
Sam's Caribbean and get
Yeah.
real crackers.
Go to 225 Hempstead Turnpike, West Hempstead. Go to Sam's Marketplace
Yeah.
and get your crackers there
right.
because the biscuits, the crackers. If you're making fish tea, go there and get some
Oh,
crackers,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
guys.
Annette's favorite is picking up the porridge, right? The ready-made porridge.
Yes.
It makes breakfast so easy, simple, boom, boom.
In
you know,
the
right?
in the container or in the
container-
package? Yes,
container,
in the
yeah.
container. I
Yeah.
love those.
Yeah, yeah,
We have cornmeal, banana,
yeah,
and a couple others.
yeah.
And my next speed round question, my last speed round question, Andrew, what's next for Sam's?
Our biggest challenge has been our website. We have a really old website that we've been trying to revise and revive, and that has been a sore issue. But we're going to be doing it this year. We're going to have a brand new website. Right now, even as bad as the website looks, it still brings in a lot of business every year.
And that makes me want to jump on really quick. The fact that website though served you well when you just started because you were able to source products all over this country that had never been done before.
And we were sending products to Japan, to India, to the military all over Europe, all over the Pacific, all over the United States.
Wow.
And
Because of
that's
that
Sams247.biz. Is that right? .com.
Well,
.biz?
That business is our catering website, and
Okay.
.com is our products website.
All right.
Yes.
So Sams247.com or
And then we have a third
Sams247.biz.
If I say quickly, we have a third website where we deliver groceries to Jamaica. So
Yeah.
anywhere you are in the world, you can go to breadandbutterexpress.com and purchase your groceries. We deliver them right to the door anywhere in Jamaica. Hills, valleys, mountains, and
I want you to repeat that because there's a business in a business in a business.
This is like an enigma wrapped in a
Are you
question.
Jamaican?
well, gotta have
Has
6
16
right?
jobs, right? Exactly. He's got 6 jobs, and they all have their own website. But tell us that site again.
It's Sam's. I'm sorry. It's breadandbutterexpress.com. Breadandbutterexpress.com. And it doesn't matter if you're in Australia, in New Zealand. It doesn't matter. You could go online, order your groceries, and we'll deliver them to your relatives in Jamaica.
Send
In
groceries to
2
your
to 3
grandma.
days.
Yeah.
You know,
Grandma, children, elderly parents,
Yeah.
the professor might have to help me out here, but in closing, I'll say this: in order for any community to really develop and thrive, there are some basic things we need, right? We need
Absolutely.
we need a good school. We need a good bank.
You need safety and security.
Yeah, we need a good supply of food.
Yes.
And
You cannot be food insecure and thrive.
Precisely. And Andrew, what concerns me is that you are one of the pioneers in this field as an immigrant, as a Caribbean man. You have started something that I wish more young people would get excited about, providing food for their communities. It gives us all more leverage. It gives us more security, as Gail pointed out, because food insecurity is one of the major problems that we face. Now, I know you're in the back of your head, knowing the kind of person you are, you'd like to put another Sam's Caribbean marketplace maybe in the Bronx, but maybe in Brooklyn. Can I know COVID has intervened in all those plans, but what are the plans for the future? Is it to develop the digital business or to and consolidate where you are? What are the plans?
Yeah, I would say it's more digital. My daughter has been with me now. She's 24 years old, but she's been working here for like 10 years,
Yeah.
part time and then now full time. I'm going to leave any kind of physical expansion to her.
Yeah.
But as far as, and my son, but as far as expanding from this point on, I think it would be more digital.
Yeah.
Developing our websites, reaching further and further, farther afield. I think that would be the main thing. But if I just may say something about young people starting business, I started this business when I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
I barely turned 30. I started thinking about it when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
And by the time we got started, I was in my 30s. And I sense that in our community, a lot of times we believe that um, businesses like this should be run by someone who's Asian,
Yeah.
and we don't see ourselves doing this. I remember one time my one of my early employees, she told someone that she was working with her friend's business, as in a retail store, and she said that's why I send my kids to school so that they won't become shopkeepers. And
Wow.
Wow.
you know,
Wow.
we don't
Wow.
understand sometimes the value of owning your own business and running your own business and being an example for others, for your children, for the community. Sometimes we miss that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
creating the generational wealth as well.
But
Yeah.
some profound ignorance, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Profound ignorance. It's like I recall delivering my magazines once, and I got out of the car. I parked at a particular place, and a lady wanted the parking spot that I got, and she was pretty annoyed. And the lady came out and called me a newspaper boy in the most deprecating
Disparaging,
and
yeah.
disparaging way, and cursed me out that I'm delivering newspapers. I didn't have a chance for a retort. I liked the quick repartee, but I didn't get a chance for that because she was so violent and so But it hit me that our communities are so ignorant of what really constitutes freedom, liberty, and
Pursuit of happiness.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So, my friend, on that note, I want to thank you so very much for being our guest on Conversations here with Gail and myself. Any parting words, Gail?
Andrew, thanks for joining us. We'll see you at 225 Hempstead Turnpike in West Hempstead at Sam's Caribbean Marketplace. Give us that website again, sams247.biz or .com. And of course, we can order our food on late, cold nights like tonight. We can DoorDash you right to our
Or
door.
Grubhub.
Or Grubhub as well.
Yeah. May I give the phone number?
Please.
Yes, sir.
516-485. I'm sorry. Let's start again.
Yeah.
I'm giving you my home number. 516-481-6602. 516-481-6602.
That's Sam's Caribbean Marketplace. And give our regards to your partner in business, Jean, and your lovely daughter, Melissa, who is indeed an outstanding credit to you, sir, and your business. Thank you very much. You have
Thank you,
anything,
Professor.
any
Thank
last
you,
words you want to
Dr.
say?
Clive.
Any last words, Sam?
Just, don't be afraid to start a business. It's tough. It's not easy, but you've got to come with fortitude and perseverance, and you can do it.
Thank
If
you very
anybody
much.
needs any help, I'm here. I'm always helping, answering questions, giving any kind of assistance I can.
Andrew,
Andrew Sam Morris.
Andrew, I'll see you tomorrow for some sorrel. Thanks so much.
All right.
Thank you very much, my friend. It was great
All right,
talking to you.
bye.
Happy
Thank
New
you.
Year. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year to both of you.
Bye-bye. So, it's it's about that time. It's about that time that we take a break.
Okay, let's do it. And then
And when we come back, I guess you have some plans for me.
I do. I enjoyed Andrew Morris of Sam's Caribbean Marketplace.
Yeah.
And I want to come back and I want to talk to another entrepreneurial person that I know, also Jamaican. And he happens to be sitting to my left. And he is Dr. Clive Williams. So we're going to come back after the break and talk to you. Before the break, Chocolate Loft, right? A venue
Chocolate
for
Loft.
private parties, 11310 Sutphin Boulevard. Contact Charles, 929-504-9200 if you're having a party. Think about the Chocolate Loft. We're going to go to break. Thanks.
Right
Are
back.
you looking for a taste of the South? Well, honey, come on down to Carolyn's. We have fried chicken, catfish, whiting, barbecue beef ribs, mac and cheese, and some collard greens, freshly made desserts, and much, much more. We're located at 2564 Hempstead Turnpike in East Meadow. Order online at carolyns.kitchen and receive 5% off your first order.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's a lie. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
real-world experience.
it's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe, it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it. Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it. Gonna get it, gonna slip it, gonna cuff it. Check it, talk to doctor and share it. Gonna get it, gonna slip it, gonna cuff it. Check it, talk to doctor and share it.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
What do we do? You may not be able to plan ahead for a ghost encounter.
Under the dining table now!
But you can plan ahead for natural disasters. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts.
Maybe it's the apocalypse.
Know your evacuation routes and decide on a safe emergency meeting location.
Here? I know. What picked Orlando?
Protecting your family is the best plan you can make. So pass the Proton Pack to the next generation and visit ready.gov/plan to get started.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
Welcome back. I feel like I'm in the driver's seat. Hi, everyone. I'm Professor Gail Lewis, and sitting to my left is Dr. Clive Williams. And you know, this is his show. This Conversations with Clive Davis, with Clive Williams. Different
I get that all
Clive.
the time. It never ceases.
I know, it never ceases.
Yeah.
But tonight, I really wanted to be a conversation with this man tonight, because, and this is why I always like to say, and this is why. Every time I've known this man now for quite some time, but yet every time I have a conversation with Clive Williams, we get off on a tangent and he tells me something about his life, something that he did, someone that he met, a place where he did a presentation, just some things. I feel like it's just this cornucopia of things that he's done. Mm-hmm. And so every time I speak to him, I end up saying, I didn't know you did that. Seriously, I just didn't know you did that. Yeah. And it could be one of 100 different things. It can be, like I said, a presentation or a speech or a business arm or something that he wrote or something he was involved with or something for the community or something back home in Jamaica. I mean, and on and on and on. And so in this segment of the show, I would like to ask him a few questions to get inside of Dr. Clive Williams' brain and find out a little bit more about him. And so even finding a place to begin is a challenge because there is so much to Clive Williams. So I think that a good place to start is to get biblical. It is written, right, from the Bible, is to start with some of his writings. He's the author of 2 books, and they are available, even though they were written a little while ago. They are both still available on Amazon and also at bnn.com, barnesandnoble.com. His first book, his first book, The 100 Steps Necessary for Survival in a Stressful Environment, and then his follow-up, which was Release Stress and Revitalize Your Life in 100 Days. They both came out of him for different reasons, and we're going to get into why now. Good afternoon and good evening, Dr. Clive Williams. Welcome to Conversations with Clive Williams.
Only you could do this. Only you could pull this off, Gail. And just a reminder, it's almost 2 decades that we've known each other.
Has it been that long?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
It's been that long.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. So we met when I was 12.
Yeah.
I was in grade school.
Yeah, and I had to be careful around you,
I was friends with your son, Chris.
I'm a father figure.
Absolutely, always. So there's a lot here. Mm-hmm. And like I said, every time we have a conversation, I always end up saying, I did not know that you did that. So that's how this came about, because I want to share some of these things with everyone else. So I think that this is a good place because this is hard copy, and then we can go from here to other places. So this very first book that came out of you in 1994, 1995, and this is The 100 Steps Necessary for Survival in a Stressful Environment. And like I said, still available at Barnes & Noble's, bnn.com. What was behind this book? How did that book come about?
You know, I had a radio show on WNWK. We're based in Manhattan. And just like Conversations with Clive Williams, it was called Love Talk. And I was then known, one evening we were on the show, my son and I, Chris and
Chrissy.
I, were doing the show. And a caller called in, and he says, boss, I've been listening to you for a while. You are really the love doctor. And people who were calling in, they picked up on that. And I became the love doctor. And at that time, I also had a practice on Hillside Avenue.
And that was, and tell us a little bit about that. You had a practice, what?
It was PSB Counseling Services. And the concept behind PSB Counseling Services was to offer a service to our Caribbean community that had deep suspicions about counseling.
And when we're saying counseling, I think a lot of people might think financial counseling, but it was actually
we're talking about
emotional.
behavioral counseling, and there was a need, and I discovered that need more and more as I was on radio, and interacted with people on radio and listened to their concerns. And so I was doing two things. I was talking to people about their lives on radio. And during the day, I was actually treating with people in my counseling practice. And I've specialized in talk therapy. And because when you get right down to it, the very basis of people's concerns are someone to talk to.
Yeah.
Most 60-70% of suicides could be prevented if that person were able to communicate with someone on a level where they were able to say what's on their mind and talk through their concerns. But as the years went by, some phenomenal things started happening. The complexion of the business model of medicine changed.
We're going to get back to that in a second.
Yeah.
The radio show, how long did you do that?
The radio show was from 1993 until almost 2000. 2000, I was recruited by WLIB, and I went on the air. No, that was 1998. Let me back up. 1998, I was recruited at WLIB.
And you were recruited there to do the same type of show?
No, the show that I was recruited to do at WLIB, initially I thought so, but then things changed as the program manager decided that she, a woman at the time, that she was going to do her own thing. And I was cast in a role where a fellow by the name of Bevan Springer and we connected with people in the Caribbean every morning. And we had a news magazine show where we got news from the Caribbean islands into New York. And we shared our news here, and we had conversations as to the news.
And also, just to remind people, the zeitgeist, this is pre-internet. So we weren't,
yes.
We weren't on social, we weren't doing any of that. So this was literally, you were getting news from the Caribbean and broadcasting it to people in New York.
Yeah, it was fascinating. And I was allowed the privilege of highlighting certain people. And I used the opportunity to come into the community, and I used to highlight businesses, immigrant businesses that were started by enterprising, hardworking people, both professionals and business people, like Neville Flowers, his physical therapy business.
Right, in Queens.
In Queens. The one outstanding example is that ex-servicemen and policemen from the islands had various clubs. And one particular club was really struggling, the Jamaica Ex-Police Officers Club. And I had the distinct privilege of giving these guys some voice, a voice on radio, as a result of which they were able to build their membership and really get things going for the organization. And other people in the community benefited from my getting out there and talking to them. It just so happened that my intention, which was pretty determined, to serve the community, did not go over so well with the powers that be at the time.
At that
the programming,
station. Right.
yes, the programming people. And so I was seen as a little bit of a maverick, as one who just wanted to promote black folks.
Right.
And that's what I do.
I was just going to, and what's wrong with that?
Unreservedly, unapologetically.
Yeah.
This is my goal. This is what I live for. I promote black people.
You promote people who look like you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I don't think and that's not something that only black people do, but different ethnicities do that as well.
I grew up in that environment. My parents were Garveyites, and I grew up in an environment where up you mighty race. Okay?
Yes.
So I was taught that being independent, having your own business is the way to go.
Paramount.
Yeah.
In the community.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you were doing the radio show, and what year did you start the counseling business on Hillside Avenue?
Oh, that was started in '92, actually, and then the radio show became a sort of conduit of expression for me to talk to the community and for the community to talk to me.
to kind of just widen the net outside of the confines of your office, of
Absolutely.
your, the couch, if you will.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, how long did the counseling business go on?
I stayed at Hillside Avenue for as long as I could pay the rent.
Oh, that's a whole other conversation that we'll have.
and then it became not too feasible anymore because in the counseling business you spend approximately an hour and a half with your client. Now, if you do the math, you know that has a limited,
Right.
There's a finality. So your malpractice insurance is going up
Right.
at a
Your
rate that's
rent.
astronomical. And the cost of doing business in a environment where there's a practice, there are other clinicians there. My office was directly across from a cardiologist, Dr. Virgo, who is now deceased, and upstairs were the dentists. And so, it became untenable, paying the rent and so forth.
And that, it was Hillside Avenue. That's
yeah.
near to all of the transit.
Precisely. So even those days, it was
Prohibitive.
expensive, and so one had to be resilient. I decided to reinvent myself.
And so that went on for how long on Hillside?
That was for about 8 years.
So
But
we're
I took that practice home.
So you were on Hillside until about
Yeah,
2000.
yeah.
And then you took the practice into your home.
I was on Hillside till about 2001. Then I took the practice home, and went on for another 7 years.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And
yeah.
then that probably was a lot better for you as far as the overhead.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But at the same time, the disadvantage was that this is your home, and things began to get a little bit different in terms of crime and people's attitudes. There's this dramatic change. How I can best describe that as a whole mental change. It's like we are in a new dimension of people's attitudes and behavior, and I thought it wise at that time to not expose my family anymore to the uncertainty and
Right.
the vagaries of having strangers coming into it, even though it was separated, and so I decided that I would do tangential what I had been doing. I focused on the media business because I had gone to school for that as well. So,
Okay, so that, and then let's get back to the book first, because then this book was 94, 95. So this came out of the practice years.
absolutely, came out of the practice years. And in the meantime, I was consulting with, just a backstory. The first guest I had on this show was Dr. Pam Winkler. She is one of my earliest teachers in this country. Her husband was my mentor, and he's now deceased. And so that book came out of encouragement by them, and the demands of this gentleman who had he did publications, he did books. I'll tell you the story. This gentleman, Dr. Samchek, he had one of the largest bookstores in Queens, right? And he decided that he was going to look for immigrant authors. And one of these authors was a dentist who happened to be someone I know. And this dentist had written a really interesting book, a sort of autobiography of his youth.
Right.
And so Dr. Check asked me to interview him on my radio show.
Nice. Okay.
So Dr. Bonnick came on my radio show.
The dentist.
The
right.
dentist. And I interviewed him for his book. And he later told me that the publisher, Dr. Check, wants to talk to me.
Right. And he's the man who end up publishing your book.
Publishing.
So the publisher wants to talk to you. And why?
Yeah. And so he says, you have some books in you. I said, what do you mean? He says, you can write books. You have a story. I says, well, he says, well, think about it, but I'm going to get back to you. And of course, my counselor and friend, I immediately deferred to him. I called up Dr. Winkler and I said, He says, well, this is a good opportunity. You're working on your doctoral program, so
Right.
why not focus on something in that vein?
Right. You were
And-
getting your PhD in psychology.
Well, it's more nuanced than that. It was more in clinical hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming.
Right.
Psychology was just one part of it. And I said, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And so, with his help and the help of a young man by the name of Sokolich, a Greek fellow, I managed to knock out this book in record time.
And what's record time?
That took maybe about 4 months, 6 months, yeah.
And it's
By
an
the time-
easy read. It's a guide to life.
Yeah,
It's just 100 steps necessary for survival in a stressful environment.
Yeah, and you read books, right?
Right.
And most people have a hard time getting through a book,
Yeah.
especially one written by someone who has studied something. We tend to speak in a language that's all our own, and we expect people to understand the concepts that we're. So I try to speak in simple terms, although a lot of people don't believe that.
I have a hard time believing that.
I try to keep it simple, and that's what I, with my mentor's help, with help from the people, my son Annette, who I bounced off, I was able to get through it, and with the help of Sokolich, and we managed to put that book out,
And it's an easy
it became my
read.
thesis.
Yeah. It's an easy read. It's easy to get through. It's a pocket guide, which I'm a real fan of. And like I said, it's a daily guide to your life.
Absolutely.
Things you can use in your life from page 1 all the way to the end, which isn't very long. It's 100 pages.
Yeah.
It's an easy read. It's a great thing to have on the train with you, just to get into, and then to get out of, and then to apply to your life.
Absolutely.
And so that was the very first book.
That was the very first book.
And what did you learn by writing this book?
Oh, that writing is hard.
Yeah. Welcome.
Crystallizing your thoughts is one of the most difficult things. But no, not to discourage young writers. Let me put this in perspective. It's a discipline. It's not inspiration. All right? If you're waiting to be inspired to write, you better reformat your thinking.
Yeah.
Okay? Writing is work. And you've got to set aside time each day.
Absolutely.
It's a discipline. And you write a couple thousand words here, and you write a couple hundred words here, but keep writing and keep reviewing, and you got to keep an open mind. You got to be open for new ideas and be willing to change your mind, right? Do you know how many drafts I have simply just ripped?
Yeah.
Do you know how many times my son demanded that I learn to write on the computer.
Oh, this was 94 that
That's
you were writing
right.
this
Yeah,
book.
that's
So
right.
you were
Yeah.
hand writing at that point.
Oh,
This was
absolutely.
Word.
And even though I used to type on a typewriter, because when I went to LIU for a while, and all my work was I typed
On a
on my
typewriter.
Remington.
Oh, my goodness
I could type.
gracious.
I could type, but then the computer was a different thing. The QWERTY keyboard came in, and you had to. And here's a difficult thing: coordinating thought with typing.
Right.
Right. It's for some people it's easy. If you check the great writers, that was the difference between the next 2 or 3 books they could possibly have written, because they just didn't make the transition
Right.
from longhand to it.
So
typing.
that's about the time when we were making that transition, I
Yeah.
guess, as a larger writing community. So then you got acclimated to writing on the computer.
Yeah,
And this came out of you.
Yeah.
And then you learned.
No, the second book
The
came out.
second book came out.
Yeah, that came out of,
So this was longhand.
Pretty
first
much.
book. Oh,
Pretty much.
wow.
Yeah.
You are gangsta.
Yeah.
Tell you, man. Oh, he's gangsta.
Yeah.
And so then you have the practice, and you are doing the radio show, and that's the first book in 94, 95.
Yeah.
And then you take the practice home with you in about 98, 99.
Yeah.
And you're still doing the radio show.
Oh yeah,
at
there's
that
a
time.
parallel profession. I'm Jamaican, remember?
I know. He's
Yeah,
got the
you
6
gotta-
jobs.
yeah,
So
yeah.
then you take it home, and then maybe the practice isn't working out for you at home. And then in 2000, this comes out of you as
Yeah.
part of your doctoral thesis.
Yeah.
So where did you go to school, and why did you write this book?
Well, I ended up at St. John's. I started at Long Island University.
And this is your doctoral program, your
yeah.
PhD.
I started at Long Island University, and I transitioned to St. John's.
And this is St. John's in Louisiana.
In Louisiana, yeah. And the reason for that was simple. I took the advice of some older people who said, look, you're over 40. You can't afford school loans at this point. You won't be able to pay them off next for your
Don't
lifetime.
want to die with
within your
school
lifetime.
loans. I know.
And look, I was lucky enough to have a mentor, and he took me under his wings at St. John's and helped me to work out my educational needs.
Right. He
For one
roadmapped
over
it for
40,
you.
he roadmapped it for me. And as a consequence, I used to visit for classes, and sadly in 2005, well, Dr. Winkler passed in '98, and in 2005, St. John's was just devastated by Katrina.
In Louisiana,
In
yes.
Louisiana, yeah.
So when did you finish at St. John's in Louisiana?
I ended up finishing that doctoral program about 10, 12 years after I started. So I never quite finished until about 2010.
Okay. And out of that, you wrote your thesis, and this book came out of that.
Yes.
And we have only about 1 minute left, so I just want to wrap up by saying the second book that came out of St. John's in Louisiana, your doctoral dissertation, Release Stress and Revitalize Your Life in 100 Days by Clive Williams. And so both of these are still available, bnn.com, Barnes & Noble, probably on Amazon. And
The first one you might have to order.
Okay. And as we're wrapping up, we got to just take a little dip in the pool with your life today. So I'm going to circle back to all of this on another show because, like I said at the top of this, every time I speak to this man, I say, I can't believe you did that. And part of that is writing these 2 books. So thank you for taking the time to sit down with me this evening on Conversations with Clive Williams.
Are you sure you want to do that, Gail?
What?
Continue to talk to me about this?
I can't wait. I want to just dig in. When you guys find out just all the different, I always want to say business arms, but all of the different capacities and arms and business arms and conglomeracies that he's part of, you will just.
Can I get some people to proxy for me, to speak for me, like my son?
Well, we'll call Chrissy up just for a little extra, but
my grandson. He
get stoned.
He knows. What did you call me earlier on? A thug or no?
Oh, he's gangster.
Gangster.
Yeah, he's gangster junior.
My grandson will tell you about the gangster side of me.
Oh, so maybe we'll get some Chrissy in here. His son, his grandson. We'll get some people up here talking about this guy. But for right now, Conversations with Clive Williams. Thanks for taking the time to sit down with me, Gail Lewis. I appreciated it. And remember, everyone, if you're looking for a place for a private party, check out the Chocolate Loft at 11310 Sutphin Boulevard. Call Charles at the Chocolate Loft. He'll be happy to hook you up for a private party, 929-504-9200, 929-504-9200. And lastly, if you're looking for some good Caribbean grub, go to Grubhub and check out Sam's Marketplace. Sam's Caribbean Marketplace, 225 Hempstead Turnpike, West Hempstead. They're open tonight till 8, so you can still go there and get some curry goat. Grubhub it or DoorDash it right to your door. Sir?
Thank you so very much. I want to thank my producer. Thank you very much, sir. Want to thank the assistant to the producer, that wonderful young lady over there, and my grandson, Annette. Thank you all very much for this wonderful... It's cold outside, folks. It's really cold outside. Do me a big favor. Call a friend. Just point them to our conversation here. You should catch that on Facebook. And look for it on YouTube. And then look for the podcast where podcasts can be obtained. I'm Clive, saying a very good evening to you. And stay warm.